Behaviour occurs in a context, and within that context you have the person and you also have the situation. So the person comes with their characteristics and comes with their history, things that have happened to them in the past, and the situation also comes with particular contextual attributes. What we also know is that largely behaviour is functional. So, and by functional I mean behaviour has a purpose. So people do things for a purpose. So we might raise our voice, we might shout if we think we're not going to be heard. We might continue to shout if we think that we're not going to have our question answered, and if we don't have our question answered, then we're going to fail the exam. Okay? We might run away if we're frightened. We might avoid things if we think we're going to be made to look silly, and so on. So those are the sorts of things that happen when a person is anxious. And we can look at some behaviours and we can say, well, those behaviours are actually dysfunctional because they're not achieving what the person really wants to achieve. And so the question then is, so why do people continue to engage in behaviours that are seemingly dysfunctional? And the answer to that is because on some level it works. So if you avoid your tutorials and if you avoid your team to do a project, that works for you because it lowers your anxiety. So you get an immediate kind of effect from doing that. Also, the reason that people keep engaging in dysfunctional behaviours is because they've done it before. Right? People tend to do the same things that they've done previously. Anxiety narrows your focus. Right? It makes you attend to something quite specific, and we know that people with ASD often have a very narrow focus. If you've ever been completely anxious about something, you'll know that that is the only thing that you can think about. You don't deviate. There's a physiological response to anxiety, so you get the increased heart rate, you can get the shortness of breath, you can get pains in the chest. It can be as bad as panic, where people will actually take themselves to hospital because they believe that they're having a heart attack. Okay, so even though these things are psychological, the pain is real. You actually do feel the pain, and it feels intense. So that's something that we need to kind of think about when we think about these students who are really overtaken by panic. It also engages the fight or flight response. So when someone is extremely anxious, they're going to either run away or they're going to potentially become aggressive and fight back if they believe that that's what they need to do in order to protect what it is that they want. And interestingly, until you're actually in the situation, you don't actually know whether you're going to fight or whether you're going to run away. And so similarly for these young people, when they're kind of overcome with their anxiety and they behave in a way that isn't functional, that's not your thinking brain. That's not you thinking about the consequences and thinking forward. It can also reduce your capacity to respond in any meaningful way. So you can lose the power of speech, or you can lose the capacity to think about what your answer should be. So put under pressure, it can be impossible to respond. Now, this is not just people with ASD, this is people with anxiety. It can also cause people to shut down emotionally so that you get no response, right? So that everything just kind of shuts down. And of course it will cause people to avoid the triggers of that.